America Meditating Blog Talk Radio Show. We collect wisdom, hear stories, and inspire each other. I'm Sister Jenna. Tune in live from Monday through Friday at 8 a.m.
The entire world watched.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And humanity saw that the sky was not the limit. Achievement. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
Do you like to meditate? Have you tried to meditate? Have you struggled with meditation? Why don't you visit one of the Brahma Kumaris Meditation Center? Visit brahmakumaris.org.
Do you want to power up your day? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Can't manage the speed? Time to get off the grid and get into the heart. A groundbreaking meditation CD for people on the move.
And at this time, I choose to get off the grid and step inside the heart.
He ran for state office and was beaten. Started a business and failed. Ran for Congress and lost. But thankfully, Abraham Lincoln didn't give up. Persistence. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world better place. If you can, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world better place. If you can, just try. Take a little time out of your day to give encouragement to someone who's lost the way. Just try. Or would I be talking to a stone if I asked you to share a problem that's not your own? We can change things if we start giving. Why don't you reach out and touch somebody's hand? Make this world a better place. If you can, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. If you can, just try. If you see an old man on the street and he's down, remember his shoes cushioned your feet. Try a little kindness, you'll see it's something that comes very naturally. We can change things if we start giving. Why don't you reach out and touch somebody's
Aha, that was Dinah Ross on her Reach Out and Touch Somebody's Hand. Remember that track, a classic, right? And at a time like today where we really need to model kindness and care for each other, I was speaking to the head of a international bank about a year or two ago, and the conversation was about how advanced we are, and there were, complexities or sort of disheartenment why we're still not able to end poverty or shift to the plate or shift the story around. And I go back to, well, people aren't being as generous as they wish to. We've got a few friends of ours that came in for a movie, and I got a text message from him last night. He goes, everything went great, but, we didn't raise any funds. And I'm just sitting watching the conversation on the phone, that I think that somebody might spend $100,000 to put on a gala, but that funding should have gone towards the project. What was important was more the networking, the relationships, the friendships, the bringing people to the table. But for that particular soul, they just wanted money to get on with their movie, And so sometimes I wonder, how do we understand not only ourselves but the story and the things that are needed? Because I want to do a fundraiser for a project to be completed. I'm spending $100,000, but the project doesn't get the money. I'm spending $100,000 for the fundraising, but it doesn't go towards the project. And I think that this is where our thinking and our understanding of who we are, what we are, how do we move things at the grassroots level is so important. And I think it connects to our ability of kindness and care and the richness that we feel within ourselves. Welcome, everyone. You're listening to America Meditating Radio Show. I'm your wonderful host, Sister Jenna. Every day, 24/7, you have a chance to listen to these enriching conversations that are helping us to understand who we are and how we can be better people, how we can handle our finances, how we can handle our relationships better. Are we kind enough? Are we generous enough? Are we willing to sacrifice at times for the sake of something good? I think it's time that we really move towards a level of what's in it for all, rather than what's in it for me. And again, it wasn't even just, I'm going back to the story I mentioned earlier. Another call came out of Canada, a lady who's been working on the event for women for 20 years. And I had so much empathy for her heart, because she said, for 20 years I've spent millions of dollars to uplift women, and all of my friends are millionaires, and I still don't own my own home. And what was interesting was that she's been talking to a lot of the power hitters, not only in her country, but in the world. And her question or her complexity was, Sister Jenna, these people have so much money. Why is it that it's not being contributed towards these things? And I said to her, well, they've made their money and they've made their mark. They don't owe anybody anything. The only thing is, are you depending on their money to make your money, or can you make your own money with your own talents and your gifts? And I think this is why we're going to look forward to talking to our guest, Tiffany, known as the Budgetnista, and she's going to join us in about a minute or two. Before I get Tiffany on the line, let's go to our beloved Sister Gita and hear what she has to say. Sister Gita.
Good morning. My day started this morning at 3 to witness a tree falling on our two cars at the back, and so many other little seeds emerged. We had to learn to keep our heart strong. From the Stepping into Happiness book authored by Daddy Yankee. Cure of 3. A strong heart. The heart is very sensitive, very delicate, and feels things very acutely. If we feel hurt and want to cry, who are we going to cry with? Who is going to listen? Where the heart has been hurt a lot, it becomes very weak. Where pain was left inside of us, it slays the heart in sorrow. We need to make the heart strong, so strong that we never feel sorrow about anything. How can we do this? One who has a clean heart does not have any animosity towards anyone, and this is how their heart becomes strong. It is selfishness that causes sorrow, worry, and insecurity which take them away. It takes away the strength of the heart, not the physical heart. Yet the heart has 3 qualities: compassion, honesty, and love. When all 3 of these qualities are present, others will see and feel it, eyes and on our face. Selfishness is removed, and we become happy and feel free like a flying bird, because we realize how fortunate we are children of the Supreme, the bestower of fortune. Today, the quest be to have a stronger heart. I have pledged that. Okay. Om Shanti. Have a good day full of love, compassion, and honesty. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Geta. As usual, it was a beautiful reading and timely as well. The America Meditating Radio Show is proud to welcome Tiffany, known as the the-budgetnista, She's the award-winning teacher of financial empowerment and is quickly becoming America's favorite financial educator. The budgetnista specializes in delivery of financial literacy and has served as the personal finance education expert for City National Bank. Now, since 2008, the budgetnista has been a brand ambassador and a spokesperson for a number of organizations, delivering financial education through seminars, workshops, curricula, trainings, and in 2014, Tiffany founded Live Richer Challenge Movement, a virtual community of over 15,000 women from 50 states and 57 countries. Isn't that fantastic? Author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, The 1 Week Budget, Tiffany and her financial advice have been featured in the New York Times, The Today Show, Fox Business, MSNBC, HuffPost, and much more. She regularly blogs on the HuffPost as well, and we welcome Tiffany-aliche to the America Meditating Radio Show. I feel like saying, go girl, congratulations, don't stop, keep moving forward, you know?
Thank you, Sister Jenna. How are you?
I am fantastic, and welcome to the show. I know that you've been featured in many media outlets, and you have an impressive client list, but what's been inspiring the soul of Tiffany? What made her become budgetnista?
Well, I think it just started from a place of wanting to be of service. I grew up in a household where that was normal. It was part of my household. My parents were both born in Nigeria, and my father in particular did not come from wealth, quite the opposite. And just watching as a child, there was always someone who was staying with us or always an uncle that they were helping or their church back in Nigeria that they were doing things for. It just was normal life. When you're a child, what happens in your home, you think this is just life for everyone. And so it was just ingrained in me very early on to always help. I can remember I went to Catholic school when I was in elementary school, and I was convinced I wanted to become a nun.
Wow, yeah.
Yes. And so that because of the energy, that of just giving and being of service.
Right.
And, so it came from that. My father was a CFO, and he was also an accountant, so he taught me about money. And I became a teacher because that was, to me, the highest expression of service. And I quickly realized that I could marry the two, my love for teaching and my financial education that I received at home.
Oh, that's fantastic. Not quite sure if you heard the beginning part of my conversation, but I got 2 calls recently, one that wanted to finance a movie and the other one that wanted to finance a movement. One has been working on getting this movie deal together for a while, but, basically he doesn't even have a place to live, but he's brilliant. The other one has been working for 20 years in doing a program towards empowering women, and she's spent millions of dollars and is at a point where she's at a breaking point. She just wants to jump off of a cliff. She can't manage it anymore. What would you tell individuals who come to you with those sorts of stories? Because I was at the fundraiser recently, and to me I saw quite a lot of money that went out to the fundraiser, but it didn't go to the project. How do you look at that as a financial expert?
Well, one, I would say that, so I'll give an example of what that looks like when it works well. Are you familiar with the movement, the Humans of New York?
Oh, yes, I sure am.
Yeah, so Humans, for those who are not, Humans of New York is this gentleman, Brandon Stanton, I believe his name is. So he wanted to become a photographer and loved photography, but not only just loved photography, just loved connecting with people. So he began taking pictures, and at first he would just post the pictures, but then he began speaking to the people that he was taking pictures of, and they had amazing stories, just like we all have amazing stories. So he began posting their pictures and their stories. But you can sense the love and the support and admiration through his pictures and through the stories he would post. So now he has millions and millions of followers on Facebook in particular. And when Brandon, he met a young principal in, I think, Brooklyn, New York, he met a student in Brooklyn, New York, that he took a picture of. He had to be 15 years old, this young man, and he asked this young man, who do you admire most, or who's made the biggest difference? And he said, my principal. And Brandon asked him why. He said, because even when we mess up, she makes us stand up and say that we are worthy, that we are worth it, that we are important. And it moved him, so he went to the school to meet who is his principal, that instead of chastising kids, is telling them that they're special despite their mistakes. And it turned out that this woman was running a school but really didn't have the money to do so. And so Brandon did a fundraiser for her and ended up making millions of dollars because he posted it on his Facebook page, and people just gave money on money on money. I mean, she ended up being on the Ellen Show with her young student. It went so far as she was invited to the White House and met with the president because of this post, because of a young student saying. So I say that to say to that gentleman who's raising money for his movie that what you're missing is the element of why should people care about your movie. People cared about this young man because they could see themselves in someone who wanted to do better. You have to connect with people. It can't be about you. It's about the people that you want to give to you. You know, what moved people? Are you giving? Are you, because no one cares about your issues and your problems more than you. So that's what I would say is that, that it has to come from a focus of how am I giving versus how am I taking, that probably was his issue. And the other young woman who was giving but not taking care of herself, one of the things that women especially are super givers, and sometimes we forget that in giving, you have to set aside something for yourself, because if not, you become less effective. That people think that, that giving or taking or keeping something is selfish. I honestly think that not keeping something is selfish, because what happens when the giver has nothing left? There are people who are counting on you to remain strong. You have to set aside something for yourself. It's like what they say in the airplane, right, that you put your air mask on.
Yeah, put the mask on first, right,
yes.
right.
It's because if the baby is fussing and the baby is fussing, you can't get the mask on, and you lose consciousness, who's going to look after that child? So it's not selfish to put your mask on first, because you have to maintain your strength and your energy. And so that's what I would say is that in giving, you must set aside and give to yourself as well.
Tiffany, I'm bubbling. I got so much to talk to you about right now because I resonate so much, and I loved that story about the picture taking, and I had watched his story unfold as well, which I thought was very powerful. And, I've seen how we try to manipulate social media by thinking, oh, yeah, let's give this, let's make this so this can go viral. But I think the element is exactly what you said. It's just of the human heart. What is it that you're showing up with? When Antonia and I are doing a lot of work together at the museum, I always joke and I tell them, gosh, look at how much we do, 150 events a year. We do this, we do that, and you know what? It serves us, and that's all that matters. And, there'll be folks and friends that'll come and like, why don't you go to the government, get these aids, get these donations? I said, you know what? One day, someone's just going to drop $1 million because they know how much work we're doing. But in the meanwhile, let's continue doing what we've always been doing. And I think that's where the richness of the internal world is what's really important, rather than keep reaching out for something to be given to you to feel like it's going to complete your story, whether it's a product or a project or whether it's just your own sense of self-worth. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, definitely.
Tell us a little bit about the Live Richer Challenge movement. I know its mission a little bit, but I'd love for you to share a little bit more with our listeners and how you started it.
So the Live Richer Challenge movement is online, free financial challenge I decided I wanted to start because I wanted to help as many women as possible achieve 7 specific financial goals in 36 days. That was the original mission. And I started it because I teach a lot in person, and women, and I would post on social media when I was teaching or speaking, and women across the nation would say, hey, Budgetnista, I'd love for you to come and teach where I live, and I couldn't possibly go everywhere. So I thought, well, what if I put this online when I'm teaching so women could have, and what if I made it free so that way I can alleviate the financial burden of getting help, because that was one of the hurdles that I'd heard that, I want help, I can't afford help because that's why I need help. And so it was just one thing I decided to give back, to give. See, I came from a place of giving, and then so the way the challenge works is that you go to livericherchallenge.com, sign up, and it's still running, and then every day for 36 days you get a small, easy financial tip in your inbox, and it leads you to a new money mindset, budgeting, savings plan, credit, debt, insurance, investing plan, all of that for free. And what's even better, and my favorite part of the challenge, is that I created this online forum. It's just a private Facebook group that leads you, when you're doing the tips, you can report back to the forum, and there are about 14,000 women in that forum who help each other 24 hours a day for free. So any question you have about money, there are not only just me, but there are financial advisors, real estate agents, debt lawyers. I mean, anything you could think of, they're in that group, and they give free advice. So there's no more excuses about, I'm not able to get on track. You have the challenge, and then you have the forum. And I started it, like I said, because I wanted to give. And as a result of that giving, it has almost quadrupled my business. Because there's, giving activate, and that was not my intention. I just assumed I was going to do the challenge. It was, people would sign up, and then I would go about my business. No, that through that giving, that genuine giving, the women gave back tenfold. I put out a second book called The Live Richer Challenge, and it hit #1 on Amazon. It took 2.5 years for my first book, The 1 Week Budget, to hit #1. It took 2.5 days for the second book because of this free challenge. And I'm on tour. It has given so much more to me, and sometimes I feel guilty almost, like, well, I didn't do this for the receiving, but that's what happens, when you give. So, yeah, the challenge has just been amazing. I mean, we're up to 17,000 women, all 50 states. We're up to 59 countries of participation, and it's just a movement that just, keeps on growing.
That's wonderful. I have to connect you with my friend Ingrid Vanderbilt, who's empowering 1 billion women, and she's done 600,000 already. I think the both of you would have a nice little marriage. Tell me about money. What is money to you? Because for me, money is like an energy. For example, I earn $500 a day, and I've got a mortgage that is $1,000 a day. But I go, I don't have it. The government is like this. The interest rates are really high. But then in order for me to pay it, I need to put more energy in. It's not necessarily like money is it, but the question to me is, for me, money is more like an expression of the energy that you're using within yourself. It is an energy within you, and then you seem to put some sort of a value or worth on something outside of you. But if you value and put your worth within yourself, you are the money. You are the money. When you walk in a room, success will follow you because you've got that in you. And so what's your perspective on money? Like, spiritually, what does it mean to you? And, of course, physically, we're seeing it can get you what you want. But what's Tiffany's idea of money?
Well, my idea of money is that money is just merely a tool. So my father would say that money is like a hammer. You can use a hammer to build a house, but that very same hammer can be used to destroy that very same house. That it's the person that wields the tool that decides. So money is just that. It's just this tool. It is not good. It is not bad. It does what the person holding it asks it to do. So you can use money to make your life better and make the life of people around you better by donating and giving and venting and sharing, or you can use money to destroy yourself and other people around you by using it to control other people, substance abuse, overeating. So to me, that is my philosophy of money, that it's just merely a tool, and one of the tools, many tools, that we can use in our life. Just like food is a tool. You can use it to make yourself healthy, but you can also use it to make yourself unhealthy. These things are not good or bad. I don't believe in placing a value on money because not too long ago we were using cowrie shells. In India they were using salt. So this is just merely a thing that we have given value to.
Right. And it's interesting because back in the days we actually had more of a bartering system where we were sharing what we had with each other, and now 4% of the world's resources or money is in the hands of just a few. And I think that's where I think a lot of us are struggling with, why don't I have if 4 or 5% of the world, is holding at bay so much wealth? How do you define that? I mean, there's this very small percentage of people that are, I don't want to use the word controlling the resources, like controlling a lot of wealth. I would say they've inherited it. It's karmic. They're in their golden age. But for the rest of the world, for the rest of the 90% of folks in the world who are middle to lower class and are struggling to, deal with the day-to-day issues, what would you advise them to do?
Well, one, I would advise them to figure out, well, what is it that you need money for? Because so many of us want money for money's sake. But what if I'm not building a house? Do I need a hammer at this moment in time? You know, can you imagine if you knew a friend of yours that just collected tools and you're asking why? Oh, I just need more tools. Well, why? Are you building something? Well, no, but you're supposed to have more tools, and that's what we do with money. Oftentimes, we are collecting or needing more money. That's what we tell ourselves, when in fact, the ultimate goal, the thing that we want, the thing that we desire, may not cost as much as we think. So, for example, you might say, like, I love to travel. And I might say, you know, I want to go on this vacation. It's going to cost me $2,000. But with a little bit of research, that same vacation might cost $500. And so I can work overtime, not see my family, do all of these, you know, babysitting, braiding hair, all of these things to save the $2,000. Or, you know, I can add an additional hour a week, save up the $500. So many of us over-sacrifice for money because we think we need way more than we do. So that's what I would say. First and foremost is get clear on what money is merely the channel to get to the original thing that you want. What is the why before the why? Why do you want money? Well, because I want to travel. Well, why do you want to travel? Because of a sense of adventure. So are there ways for you to get the sense of adventure without having to spend quite so much? Yes. You know, is there a way for you to get that dress without having to buy it full price? Of course. Is there a way for you to get the car that you really like to drive and not have to buy it brand new? Definitely. People don't explore those options, so instead they chase the money, but the money it's not the thing itself. So I really try my best to focus on what is it that I desire. What are your core, I call them my core values. And so I have them listed for myself. Like balance for me is a core value, love, freedom, adventure, philanthropy, personal growth. These are core values. So I focus on the core values, and money is just one of the tools I will use to get to my core values. Oftentimes I don't need, like, for example, personal growth. It might be a book. I can get that from the library. Money is not necessary. It's not a tool that I need for personal growth for that particular thing. I might donate my time. You know, people say, oh, I want to start a nonprofit. Well, why have you even started to donate your time? So figuring out your core values and focusing on those.
I like that. It seems that you really come from a place of more of an internal way of looking at your life and doing your life. I appreciate that. I know you've got the Live Richer tour going on, and are there any plans on you coming to the nation's capital? Tell us a little bit about the tour.
Yeah, so I have. So as a result of giving through the challenge, the women have been amazing. They've been, Tiffany, we want you to come see us in person. And I said, you know, I really, at the time, I didn't have the funds to fly to different places in the nation to meet with women. So instead, what they did is they reached out to their networks, their companies and businesses, and they've hired me to come and speak and teach. And so that's what the tour has been. I've been hired. And so I've been to Newark. Well, I live in Newark. That was my first tour stop. I've already been to the nation's capital. I've had a stop in Atlanta, in Miami, L.A. I just did New Orleans like 2 weeks ago. I'm going to Charlotte in September, Chicago in September, Dallas, Boston. So I have a few other stops left. And so really the way the tour stops work are that I find either a nice little restaurant or someplace nice, and about 40 women usually come out, and I do a mini lesson. And I really believe in working collaboratively, so I reach out to financial educators in that state, and I ask them, usually about 2 or 3, would you join me in servicing women? And they'll do mini lessons as well. And we just have a really good time. So it's networking, it's mini lessons, they eat, they get my book, and you form friendships, because when I leave, I want you to have a support system that I'm not here, but you have these other financial educators who will help you, and you have these other women who are now part of your sisterhood that can hold you accountable to your finances.
Powerful. Tiffany, that's great work that you're doing. Thank you so much. I would love to be able to have more of this conversation in the future, because I think that one of the components that I drew from our conversation was the fact that you are coming from a place of service. And there's a quote I use all the time, give more than you take in life. And I think life will just take good care of you. So before I end the show, does Tiffany have a favorite life quote that she's living by? And leave our listeners one more time with a website that they can get in touch with you if they wish to.
Sure. So one, if you'd like to sign up for the challenge or see where I'm stopping on tour, if you go to Live Richer, challenge.com. You can do that. And just if you want to see me, I am the-budgetnista, so it's the-budgetnista.com. And I'm the Budgetnista on all the social media sites. So THE, the word budget, and Nista, Nista, like fashionista. Yeah, so the-budgetnista.com. And my favorite.
How'd you come up with Budgetnista?
Well, I have sisters, so the baby girl, she nicknamed that. So she said, there's a fashionista, but you're always so good with your money. You should be the Budgetnista. This was years ago. And I said, oh, that's a cute name. And so I kept it.
That is sweet. I love that. That's fantastic. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Leave me with your website.
So my favorite quote is from Paulo Coelho, who wrote The Alchemist, which is one of my most favorite book probably ever. If you are a dream catcher, someone who's wanting more out of life, this is the book that you should read, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And the quote goes, we warriors of light must be prepared to have patience in difficult times and to know that the universe is conspiring in our favor even though we may not understand how. So you are a warrior of light, that sometimes things are difficult, but you have to have patience and know that the universe, God, whatever it is that you believe in, is working in your favor, and that you just have to understand that everything is working in your favor even when it seems like it's not. Some no's really are just delayed yeses, and so that's my favorite quote.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for ending the show on that note. All the very best, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yep, sometimes the storms are there, but they're in your favor if you hold on tight enough. And I think for many of us who are listening on the conversation, is it safe to say we took away from Tiffany's heart her power to give and her power of service? And that's really where the fortune comes back. And as I was mentioning to her earlier, I was telling Antonia, someone will come one day. They'll just leave $1 million for the museum and continue, because we've been working from that place. And I've often looked back and seen how blessed and how fortunate we have been by just the love of everyone who has supported us. So we want you to continue to support not only our radio show and meditation museum, but do go and Google Tiffany and see what she's up to at the Budgetnista, and definitely participate in some of her Live Richer Challenge movement, which seems absolutely fantastic. And so for more information on Tiffany and her work, it is the-budgetnista, Nista.com. I hope you did take away something very special and profound from today's conversation. I know I did. Again, the spirit of service is what it's all about. Remember, no one can take away your happiness unless you give them permission, and we are here to love each other the same, so we can amplify that as much as we need to. Take care, everyone. We're going to end today's show on This Love by Lucinda Drayton.
They sing and say